NCRP Productions presents Unhallowed Metropolis, Secrets in the Sands, Episode 1.
Well, good evening, and welcome to the first night of Unhallowed Metropolis. We're calling this Season 2. This is Barry. I'm going to be your game master from here out, and I'm going to go around the table, have each of you guys introduce who you are and who your character is and your character class. I'm going to start over here.
Hello everyone, this is Pedro. I am playing Dr. Desmond Wright, and as it's in my name, I'm playing a doctor. I'm more of the medical side though, as this game has plenty of different types of doctors, so I am a Peerless surgeon.
Hi, this is Sequoia, and I'm running Francis Toro. He's an Undertaker.
Hello, I'm Michael. I'm playing Dr. Everett Wolfe, another doctor who specializes particularly in chemistry and alchemy.
Hi, my name is Jill, and I am playing Raya Patel. I am a mourner.
Okay, and then we have not two new players, but two new characters joining the game, so I'm going to have them introduce themselves now.
Hi, my name's Matt, and I will be playing Ayden Carter, a Antiquarian.
Hello everyone, my name is Ty, and I am running Ray Callahan, a Pugilist, and I don't know what you're talking about, I am a new player in this, so...
Right, you're joining this game for the first time. So, let me kind of catch everyone up with where we're at. Last we left you at the end of the previous season, you guys were flying over and into Cairo. There was an uncertainty amongst the crew. No one knew for sure if you guys were flying into a space where you would be able to land, if there was a secure area where you were going to be able to land. Of the original crew that you guys had, of the original 25 crew, there are 24 remaining of current crew, including Sigurd. Of the 8 helium extractors that you guys started with, there are 7 remaining. Of the original 15 Marines on the mission, there are 10 remaining. Both cartographers have survived. And then of the 10 service people, 8 of them have survived thus far, Helga being one of them. That entire crew, including the captain, are all Prussian. And if my memory serves, I believe Sigurd is the only one who speaks some Pidgin English. Is that correct? Is everyone thinking that?
That's what I remember,
okay.
Yeah.
In addition to that, the airship currently contains Dr. Wright, Frankie, Dr. Wolfe, Raya, John, who is Matt's character from the previous game, who's a military man. We will be finishing with him this game session. It also includes Cal and Marud, 2 characters that you'll get more information on as we get down, but these joined us on the original ride. And then the people setting up the ride were Arthur Billings and his wife Mei Ling, and they all of you have as well survived. So you guys were coming in, you had a lot of static on the radios, you had lost contact with anyone at this point. You guys are coming in during the day, and once you crossed the Mediterranean and came down closer to the port of Alexandria, one of the biggest things that you notice as a change from what you had seen across most of the rest of Europe is it's sunny. It's uncomfortably sunny. It's certainly not a nice, warm, lay on the beach type of sun. But you guys have light. You are not covered in the fog. You are not covered in the blight look for the air. It is reasonably clear. As you guys look out across the area down below, everything looks like ruins and rubble. You fly across and over Alexandria. Alexandria is not in good shape. And you guys are going to head in based on one of the maps that I took today. And I've got loads of them at this point. You guys are going to come down Alexandria following one of the forks of the Nile and head towards Cairo. Now, coming into Cairo, you guys did not have any idea how you were going to get to do the things that you were doing. You guys weren't even certain if something was here. As you come in, Cairo does have a wall around it. You notice that there are people moving around. I mean, at this height, they're ants, but there are people moving around. And the captain is bringing the ship down. Do you guys remember what it was that you guys were coming to Egypt for.
Yes, so I luckily took some notes. We were coming in specifically to find the tomb of... Is it I?
Tomb of I,
Okay,
yes.
cool. The tomb of I in the Valley of Kings. Now, we are looking for a clue there. Now, in order to find the tomb of I, we are also looking for the tomb, the temple, Karnak Temple, which is supposed to have a clue on how to find the tomb of I. And we're looking actually, I think, overall for the tomb of Akhenaten. I think that was the main goal.
You're looking for the tomb of Akhenaten, and you were also potentially looking for his fabled city.
That's it, yeah.
Amarna.
Okay, yes. And that all...
It actually wasn't called Amarna at that time, but it is modern-day Amarna, so we use it as a descriptor.
And that all was based off of the tablets that we found, or the chunks of tablets from the altar.
The pieces of rock.
Yes.
Exactly. And Grayling was the one that sent you on this mission to come down here. The other thing is, if you remember, when you guys did load onto the zeppelin, they had talked about the fact that it's been 80 years since there has been any direct contact with Cairo, not necessarily Egypt in general, but Cairo specifically. All right, so we are coming in down in flight. Everyone is told by a couple of the crew members to you're welcome to strap in into one of the seats here, or you can wait in your rooms. But the landing is fairly smooth. As you come down, you can hear the people down below yelling. They're not yelling in English. You can clearly hear that, but you can hear yelling outside. There are a couple of shots being fired, but you think they are warning shots not directed at the Zeppelin. As the Zeppelin comes down and hits bottom, you have the crew move as they are supposed to move. The Marines all stay in the center area, the center lounge area where you guys are. They are weaponed up, but they are not doing anything at this point. The crew steps out, starts setting lines, and the captain approaches you. Gentlemen, we will be, and ladies, we'll be disembarking shortly. I want to make certain that the area is safe. And the captain will come to the head of the Marines, take 3 of the men with him, and they will go down the gangplank to the ground. If you guys, I don't know if you want to get up and watch them out the windows.
The doctor would definitely go over to the windows. Oh my, I'm pleasantly surprised there's people here.
Yeah, Wolf's actually going to go with Wright to look out the window because it is, first time getting to see a place full of sun and not just like a brief glimmer through haze or anything like that. This is like clear skies is what you're saying? Well, maybe not clear, but
it's clear-ish. So there is a haze that you can't describe what it is. It might be heat shimmers. The two of you definitely understand why that would be the case, but it feels like it's more than that. It feels like there is something in the air, something that is just making everything look fuzzy or slightly out of focus.
All right, I'll come up beside Dr. Wolfe. Can't see a damn thing.
I'm just wondering if that haze is similar to our own miasma back in London.
Blight's blight.
I've yet to find a place that doesn't have some form of the blight. It's quite interesting, though. This hot light is almost unbearable.
Hey, Doc, we gotta wear our masks here, right?
No, well...
And as you ask that, as you guys look outside, you'll notice that everybody down on the field, now of course the Marines are wearing the mask and the captain's wearing the mask, everyone down on the field looks like they simply have cloth over their mouth. There's cloth wrapped around their head. It's not pristine white, it has yellow and brown stains to it. But everyone is wearing that around their head.
Is there sand blowing?
There is definitely sand blowing. That is not obscuring vision, but you definitely see that.
Well, I guess we'll have to get outside and see how the air smells. You can always tell blight. It has that nice little twang on the tongue, but perhaps they're just wearing those for the sand. Keep it out of your mouth.
One of you was able to speak with the Prussians. Is that just Mei Ling? Do you guys remember?
No. What? Oh wait, no. That was the Russians, I think. We spoke with
I,
Latin.
because I did the Latin.
Yeah.
thing,
No, but I think it was just Mei Ling. None of us speak Prussian, as far as I know.
So you guys will hear Arthur talking with Mei Ling, and then you'll hear her talking with a couple of the Marines, and she will come over to the window, and as she is characteristically very quiet, and she looks outside, and you'll see her look around. She seems to stop where she's looking, and then just a quick and she walks away from the window and walks back to Arthur and whispers something in his ear, and it looks to you guys that he's happy.
I kind of look out the window and where she was looking to try and see if I can determine what she was looking at.
Very good. Go ahead and give me a wits roll.
Okay.
And again, I'll remind everyone it's two 10-sided dice, non-exploding, and you're going to add the operative skill or stat.
14 plus 3 is 17.
So, as you're looking back and forth, you're going to see a man with shock white hair. Standing next to him is Ray shorter or taller than you?
How tall are you?
I'm like 5'6" or so.
Okay, I'm taller than him.
All right, and a much physically broader and larger man standing next to him, slightly behind him with unkempt hair, and there is the shorter man is holding a sign in his hand that says in kind of like rickety writing. It says Grayling Party. Party is spelled Partie, but still.
Wolf has to squint a bit because of all the sun and the
Yep.
glare. He actually has to put his hand up against the window for a moment and goes, I think that's our way of committing.
And I'll be, looking out the window as well with my
Well, if
hand
he
over my
directs
eyes.
you to it, the three of you can all see what he's looking at, or the two of you can both see what he is looking at.
Can't see shit.
Is the kind of welcome that Grayling provides. Wonderful. I wonder if is there somebody to help with our baggage, or
Who are you asking?
I'm everyone around me.
Well, you don't see any of the service crews step forward.
I'll help you, Doc.
Thank you.
So the captain will come back in. He takes off his mask as he gets to the top of the stairs, and you guys will see him breathe in, and he's doing it for your edification. He breathes in very, very deeply, releases, does it a second time, and comes back inside without his gas mask, and he says, in his very broken English, and I'll work on my accent, I apologize. Didn't get a chance to do that tonight. He'll let you know the air. It is clean. You can breathe, although it still scorches taking into your lungs. I'd recommend you always carry water anywhere you go. And he says something loudly in Prussian, and the Marines that are waiting there will stand up and go towards the galley, and three of the service members will also go towards the galley, and you guys will see that they are bringing up water bottles, water jugs.
What for each of us, or
They're just bringing them up. You don't know who they're for.
Okay, excellent.
The three Marines will come back up, say something to the captain. The captain nods his head. Mei Ling will wave you guys over to the center sitting area, the three of you that were up at the windows.
Yeah, go over.
All right, and sitting around, Mei Ling will tell you guys, so the captain has spoken with the Marines. The ship is set. We can leave when we wish. I would say gather your things. And Billings says, yes, gather your things, let's go.
Wonderful. I will be quite happy to touch solid ground again. Frankie, my boy, will you help me with my things?
In a minute, Doc. And I'm gonna meet Raya's eyes through the crowd. How close are you to me? Do you mention you're close?
Yeah, I'm probably sitting right across the compartment from you. I'll nod at you, make eye contact, and just kind of confirm you and I are responsible for
the heavy lifting.
the heavy lifting.
Where's Cal?
So Cal and Marud are sitting with you guys. Cal is just kind of taking it all in. Give me a wits roll since you're looking.
I got a 19.
So Cal every once in a while will, as he's looking around, will kind of linger on Dr. Wright, and twice now you've seen that kind of linger and then look past and then lean into Marud and say something, and you've watched Marud both times shake his head in a very, very distinct no.
Okay.
And if you guys will remember, Marud is very, very, very black in skin tone, almost blue-black in skin tone. He is a man of very few words, but he definitely takes the safeguarding of Cal to the highest, and has done so for you guys as well. If you remember, has stepped in for your safety.
He has definitely been watching Dr. Wolfe, and Wolfe has noticed very much.
So, are you guys getting bags?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go to my room, start packing up my things, wait for Frankie patiently.
Arthur and Mei Ling go over and speak to the captain, and Arthur, when you guys come back out from getting your stuff, Arthur and Mei Ling are both standing at the gangplank ready to go down. They do not have any of their belongings.
Yeah, I'll pick up the doctor's stuff and my own stuff.
Okay.
I'll carry my own bags.
Okay.
Wolf's carrying his own stuff. It's very delicate.
And for John?
John is going to stop the doctor.
Okay.
And say, Doctor, this is where I part ways.
What do you mean, John? Aren't you going to come with us to explore this land?
I will be exploring it, but through different venues. Feel free, if you wish to leave, if I'm not here, to go without me. I will acquire another means to get back.
Well, all right, my boy. It's been good having you. Thank you for all you've done for us. You've kept us, safe on several occasions.
And John extends his hand out, gives him a hearty shake.
Give him a handshake.
And as you guys are shaking hands, you've been catching a little bit of movement. You now see that one of the Marines comes up behind John, taps your shoulder, doesn't say anything to you, and hands you a letter. Actually, it's not a letter because that would imply an envelope. It is a folded piece of paper.
And John takes it, stuffs it in, puts on his rebreather and stuff, and he'll actually move into the back area.
Mm-hmm.
With the idea being he's going to exit via a back entrance. So
remember that there's the drop bay in the back.
Right.
That's where a number of things are right now.
Yeah. So he'll be.
Do you go grab your rucksack?
Yep.
Okay. Very good. So the rest of you, does everyone meet at the gangway?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Essentially, once I'll have my doctor's bag in hand. That's the one thing that I'm carrying, at least.
Okay. So as you guys start to exit, it's Cal and Marud. Cal is carrying just a backpack. Marud is carrying a side satchel. And somewhere on here, I actually wrote down what everyone brought. So give me just a moment, because that's going to be kind of fun. So Raya, you just brought a backpack.
Yes, I did.
John brought a steamer trunk, a backpack, first aid pouch, a ration bag, and a map pouch. So when you left, you were pretty watered or heaved down. Wolf has his backpack and a valise. Dr. Wright has a steamer trunk and a valise. There you go, Frankie. Mm-hmm. And Frankie also has a steamer trunk and a backpack. So, Frankie, I'm assuming you're dragging the two steamer trunks then.
Yeah, that's accurate.
My boy, I paid good money for that. What are you dragging it? Get where? And I'll point to some of the Marines just standing around. You were there. Will you kindly help us, please? Bring this down.
The couple that saw you wave your direction just kind of look at you and go back to talking.
I just keep pulling.
Mei Ling just looks at you and says, let me try. And so she walks over and speaks to them. They speak back. She says something that sounds like swearing. And two of them kind of stand up, come over, and they will literally lean over and take the trunk out of your hands unless you fight them.
No, I won't fight them.
They carry it down the gangway as you guys are going down. At the bottom of the gangway, they will set it down. They don't throw it down, but it's not laid down gently. It's put down. And the two of them will walk over to Mei Ling, say something, and she just nods her head one time, and they walk back in.
Thank you so much.
Doctor, I told you you should pack light.
Well, this is light. Do you know what I could have brought otherwise? I had more chemistry sets. I had one for every day of the week. I could have brought them all. I could have brought 3 trunks, 4 trunks.
And how many Jacob's ladders do you have in the trunks?
Well, it's all Jacob's ladders.
4. So there are 8 of you. Yep, there are 8 of you in the group. So you two, gonna learn names. Ray and Ayden, you two are gonna see a group come off of the airship. Now, Ayden, you've known that it's gonna be an airship coming in. You got a description of one person, him, Dr. Wright. You got a clear description, and there's no questioning it. Of the people who come down, Marud is not wearing a gas mask. He has a scarf pulled across his nose and mouth. Cal is wearing the very fashionable gas mask he has. How about the 4 of you? Mei Ling is wearing hers. Billings keeps fidgeting with his. He'll take it off for a bit and he'll cough. He'll put it back on.
I mean, the doctor has his on because it has the scented filters.
Yes.
So I keep that on for now, probably until the heat gets too unbearable.
Gotcha. All right, Frankie.
Yeah, I've got mine on, and I also wanted to clarify that my steamer trunk was empty.
Was empty.
It's
Okay.
empty.
Well, there's gonna be. Then I'll change it a little bit, and when yours is carried and set down, the Marine's definitely going to give you a look and then walk back up because yours is not empty, right?
No.
Wolf, wearing or not wearing?
Wolf is wearing.
Okay, Raya.
I am not wearing my gas
Okay.
mask.
Do you have anything pulled across your face then?
I probably have. I'm actually not wearing my veils.
Okay.
But I probably do have some kind of a scarf or something.
Okay,
around my
so you
face.
do have something covering nose and mouth, or just?
Probably just across nose and mouth.
Okay. So then for you two, Ray and Ayden, so you guys have been here long enough. The outside air is scorching. At night, it is burningly cold. During the day, it is achingly hot. There is definitely some grit in it that chafes your throat. If you don't drink on a regular basis, you get a horrible cough that doesn't allow you to sleep at night. There's not the fear of pneumonia, but there are lung diseases that have started cropping up in Egypt over the last 60 to 80 years where they've had a doctor there who's starting to try and look at them, and they're fairly certain it's from the air. So gas masks are uncommon in Egypt, but not unknown, because all of the British officers, actually anyone coming over on British ships back in the day, would have brought them. So do you have gas masks?
I have a gas mask.
Okay.
So Ayden has a mask, full mask, but having been here for so long and having the knowledge the British found over here about how having a rubber mask becomes very uncomfortable and dehydrating.
Yes.
He actually has a canvas breath mask. So it's like everything's canvas.
Oh, so you have a gas mask, you're not wearing it.
No, I have a respirator.
As well.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's made of canvas rather than the metals or.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's cooler kind of thing.
And did you make it? Is that something you made, or is that something you purchased or had made?
I had it made,
Okay.
and yeah, I know that the style in England is these elaborate brass,
And you're getting to see it. I mean, there's a
Right.
difference between the ones who are wearing them, but there's definitely a stylization.
here in the desert. It doesn't work.
Okay. All right. And the place that you got the canvas mask, is it still in existence?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just looking for storyline future if they decide they want to go that route. All right.
It's run by they were essentially British auxiliaries, so like natives who wanted to help the British or were working for the British, and after the fall, they've just been, doing their thing.
Oh boy, Juan's Gas Mask Emporium's coming up. All right, so for the two of you then, you see this group of 8 step off, and by description, absolutely, you know Dr. Wright is the one you're waiting for.
All right.
Cane and all.
So I'm gonna walk up to.
And I come walking up to you, by the way, with a limp.
Okay.
Just that's another signature thing of mine. So have a cane in one hand, kind of ornate, has a nice little hand grip to it.
So Dr. Wright leaves the group. Do you guys walk with or let him go? You don't see, I mean, Billings and Mei Ling and Marud and Cal are not leaving the group to walk over. It looks like Wright just out of the blue decided to, I mean, they didn't look out the window.
Right.
So he just out of the blue just started walking out of the group.
I'm a couple steps behind Dr. Wright,
But follow.
and I have my hands on my weapons.
Okay? On your Esculpas?
I'm following Wright
that.
because that's as far as I know, Grayling's their main employer.
Right. Frankie?
He doesn't know it, but he feels like a soccer mom carrying all of this luggage. And so he's following, but he's handicapped by how bulky everything is.
So if the four of you all leave with, by the way, all four of you there and Ray, give me a wits roll.
13.
Uh-huh.
I got a 9.
Uh-huh.
I got a 14.
14?
I got an 18,
18?
which is my thing.
It is not my thing.
A 13. All right. Well, this is actually perfect because he would be the only one who would even know that this happened. You will catch just the end movement of John running off the airfield and into the city.
I still get back, just like kind of like nod that way, like good for you, old boy. Go get some adventure.
All right. So you approach this man with white hair and a very odd gas mask. It's definitely a gas mask, but made of canvas instead of the mix of metals and rubbers.
I'll say, well, that's quite an interesting mask you have there, Dr. Desmond Wright. Pleasure to meet you. Are you waiting for us, I assume?
And I'll kind of give a slight bow. I don't shake hands. And I go, Ayden Carter, it's very nice to meet you, Doctor. I've heard many good things about you. I'm currently wearing like kind of the robe with the loose sleeves and kind of a head wrap around that canvas mask. And I'm going to disconnect the mask so you can see my face. And I'll say, is this your entire party?
Yes, this is an. I was thinking it's like a cultural thing. I'll take off my mask and do it. Yes, it is. This here is Frankie. This here is fellow doctor, Dr. Wolfe. This here is Raya. Oh, she's a whiz in combat. You should see her with those swords. Pardon me, Ayden, you said?
Yes.
It's a pleasure again to meet you. And then who might this be?
This is my employee and good friend, Roy.
Rick.
Right, sorry. It's Ray, you bastard! I've been working for you for 3 years!
Ray and or Roy, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'll reach my hand out to shake it.
Good pleasure to meet you.
We got a shaker here. Good. So it appears that
I apologize. I've had. It's been a very long time since I've dealt with British, and I will extend my hand.
there we go. Proper. Excellent.
As you shake hands, I still have my hands on my weapons, and I'm looking you up and down, very examining you and you.
Well, I'm definitely watching your hand.
I'm still pulled the
see,
luggage.
and if Frankie, if you decide to look, you too can see definitely a warrior, a fighter in Ray.
Well, I can see that Grayling has rang ahead, I suppose.
Yes, we've been in communication for quite some time.
And you set up, just so you know, for storyline, you have set up a place for them to stay. You had been told there would be 10.
Okay.
Or at least that's what the message seemed to say. It's been getting worse lately, communications.
All right. I figured it would be at like my home or something.
Does your home have that much space, do you think?
I
I was thinking accommodations possibly next door or in an area where your aunt lives, that kind of thing. But
I will make arrangements to have a place reserved for him.
that's what I was thinking. Right.
So, is there any other equipment or belongings you might have?
Well, for myself, no, it's just the steamer trunk. Unfortunately, I had to pack light. But I believe we have everything else here, yes, fellows? Yes, wonderful. Yes, and I'm also assuming that Grayling has procured us a location to stay while we are here.
I would humbly hope that you would all stay at a place I've provided for you. All the drink and food you need, anything that you require, please let me know. And as your humble host, I will try to see to it that your needs are met.
Wonderful, wonderful. Grayling always likes to provide the best for us that he can.
Now, if you want to step in, you can interject. Grayling's not providing it. If you choose to take it that way, you have a choice of the way you want to react to it.
I think I'd be modest, so I probably wouldn't say that.
I like that. Good.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, yes. I would love to see this. What a interesting land. Very different than where we're from. It's quite wonderful. Oh.
And on that note, give me a vitality roll.
As I pass out. Oh, it's kind of hot.
Yeah, Wolf's actually been kind of like reaching under his gas mask because the rubbers are. He's actually beginning to notice something. It's like, and then he unhooks his as it's kind of like sticks to his skin.
It's
for a
definitely
moment,
sweaty, and there's a nice suction connection.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I still should have my like ornate leather armor padding on,
Yep.
so it's probably pretty hot. And,
It was kind of funny when I was looking at equipment. The first thing I looked at for cheap was rubber armor, and it said rubber armor is great except it's hot. And I'm like, all right, next.
So I got a 14.
A 14. So you make a couple coughs. You can feel that there's starting to be a raspiness to your throat. You're fine. You can keep it off. But in your mind, you're thinking, as soon as he puts his mask on, I'm putting mine on.
Yeah, exactly.
The other four move up towards where you guys are now. They've seen that you guys are talking, and they have the things that they brought, which again is limited. As you guys are around still making pleasantries and you giving the wonderful description of where they're going to stay, there will be one of the Marines will come down the gangway and head towards you. Would any of you specifically look to the Marine, or would you continue talking? What I'm saying was, seeing someone coming towards you, would any of you specifically look there?
I would not look like I was
Right.
looking there,
Okay.
but
I've got one lady with a sword, and now another guy with probably a gun of some sort walking towards us. So yeah.
All right, so Ray, go ahead and give me a wits roll.
I was gonna say, Ray, if you didn't notice, I have a revolver on my hip.
You're also ancient.
all right.
And
That's
you
fine.
have yet to put your hand on your gun.
That's fine. Okay.
That's an 11.
Not 11. All right. So you'll notice that he is running up. You're guessing military by the way he's dressed. He runs up and runs to Mei Ling, which is the short Asian woman that's there with the group, who's starting to walk towards you. She's rather surprised, and you will see. You guys already know this, but you will see Marood, the very large black man. So for you, Ty, Cal's a nice-looking, very thin young man. Marood is very thick, very tribal, has scars on his face. He has scarring through his hair. He keeps his hair very, very short. As you watch him, his eyes are everywhere at once. He doesn't ever have anything in his hands, but you don't feel like that's a problem. You feel like, because you've fought people like this before, anything he needs would be in his hands in a moment. He definitely seems to take a defensive turn and then seems to relax almost immediately once he notices what it is. And it's one of the Marines that came off the ship. But just so your character has an idea of Marood, you're not sure you want to mess with Marood.
All right.
Not threatening by any means to you, and hasn't been yet. So the Marine comes up and speaks in Prussian, which you guys have been on the flight for a short period of time. None of you picked up any of the words.
Right.
And she says something. Yes,
I do speak Prussian.
You do.
I have a language of 3,
okay.
so
Okay. Go ahead and give me a language. So is it specifically Prussian or is it language?
So they don't do like individual languages; they just do language. So 3 is you can understand most languages after
all right.
a little bit. 4 is like you.
I would say most common languages
Right.
would make some sense. So yeah, give me a roll.
So,
Well, if we're talking a European setting, like there's several different countries sitting all right next to each other, so
Yes,
a lot of the
exactly.
people from that area pick up at least a little bit of about a lot of different languages.
I'm
Without
missing
a doubt.
parts, but I got a 10.
A 10. Yeah, so he is pretty strongly accented. So you get a little bit. He seems to be giving her information as opposed to it being some kind of a warning or that type of thing. It doesn't say in talking with them, but listening to the pieces, you're not picking up like you should run.
Right.
So she nods her head, bows to him. He kind of looks at her a little weird and kind of gives a weird, kind of uncomfortable bow and runs back to the ship. Ray, the other thing that you noticed, I'm sorry, besides the Marine, the other thing that you noticed is the people on the tarmac, the ones that are here where this landing was, they're Egyptian or they're from this area. They may not specifically be Egyptian born, but they work here. All of them carry a very large curved sword at their side, and in addition carry some kind of a handgun. Again, they're dressed with the white covering on their head, across their face, and loosely wrapped around their bodies. You know them to be good fighters. As the Marine came out, the ones in close area to him all hand to the weapon. Every time somebody comes out, you've noticed that they've done this. And as he goes back up and on, he stops, looks at them, and then continues back into the ship. They don't go from concern to calm until you don't see him anymore.
All right, well, I'm definitely going to feel at my side for my knuckle duster and make sure it's still there. And I'm not going to draw it just because I don't know how much you told me, but I assume this is the group that we're meeting. I don't necessarily have to worry about them.
Right.
Everyone else
Good
is
idea.
kind of hanging around. I'm kind of like, okay, this is a lot of people. At the moment.
So for all
I
of you
figured we
guys,
have a code word, so when stuff's bad, like that's when you take in and I start running.
like run,
Code word.
eggplant. We'll go with eggplant. That's
Ice cream, because you know that's not something you'll find.
so. For all of you guys now getting to look back as you're talking, I'm certain that you're not 100% focused. So you will see. Each of you counting different numbers, you will see somewhere between 15 and 25 of these guards, some up on the walls, most of them directly on the tarmac, but spread out. You don't see a clump of two anywhere. In addition to that, you've seen that there are 4 set pins for those of you that were on the Zeppelin when we landed previously in Warsaw. Same 4 set pins are down. It looks like they've either repaired the one that broke or they've got a different one, the one that the guy was sucked through. They've either got it fixed or they've got a
about
different
that.
one. In addition to that, you'll notice that the front end of the Zeppelin, the area that was crunched hitting the building, is still looks pretty bad. But the pins are down, even with the slight wind that's going. The Zeppelin's pretty solid at this point. So back to you. What would you like to do as far as taking them?
So I'll turn, since I'm kind of obviously getting the hurt vibe from her, and I'm going to bow and take her hand and kiss it, as I've been told that's how you're supposed to treat ladies,
Very good.
and say, and who might you be?
You're not talking Raya. You're talking my lady.
No, I'm
Raya. Okay, sorry.
My name is Raya Patel. I am a bodyguard for Lord Grayling. He sent me along with the group. You must forgive me. Lord Grayling has many friends, but also many enemies. Some are one and the same.
My humblest apologies if I cause offense, but I do believe you are what is known as a mourner.
I am.
I would love to have a conversation with you at some point. I've heard many tales of your profession.
You here in Egypt will know there are similar types of people. They tend to be female. They're called wailers, and in addition to wailing at the death of the people, they are now starting to get trained because of exactly the same things. People come back alive. They are there to remove heads. The objective being they have started taking up the tradition again of mummifying people, but they want the body intact to do the mummification. Same basic idea with the British. They would like the body to be intact when it's interred.
And you, sir?
I am Francis. I trying to think of how to summarize all the events that have led to being here.
You're the doctor's bodyguard?
Yeah. There are not a lot of heavy hitters in this group, so I'm filling in some gaps.
Francis. You're Frankie.
Francis.
Francis. My apologies. Your doctor seems to be busy. So,
Yes, he likes to daydream, thinking about whatnot. But yes, you had mentioned accommodation. I would love to see that. Perhaps if there's some refreshments. It's quite warm out here. And
That's
I'll pull out,
how the desert works.
I'll pull out like a handkerchief and just start dabbing at my. Oh wait,
The doctor is definitely sweating. Dr. Wolfe is definitely sweating. I suspect, you said Frankie is wearing the gas mask.
Yeah.
So, but Frankie's a little bit better physically as far as shape and age.
He's pretty miserable,
Frankie's
though.
miserable, but probably not looking as uncomfortable, still sweating. The other four, as you get to talk to them, Mei Ling just introduces herself and doesn't say anything more than that. Billings will introduce himself, let you know that and you may not get looks from this group, let you know that he is the leader of this group. He is the one who set the deal to bring the Zeppelin down here, and he's very excited to see what you have around here as far as sights. Cal will introduce himself. Cal has an odd way about him, thinner and lighter than most of the people that you've met, most of the men that you've met, but doesn't look any less, what would be the word, any less dangerous. And then Marud, without a doubt, he will extend his hand, give a single one shake, and then pull it back.
I will say it is finally nice to meet you. I have heard so many stories talking by travelers and such.
And who are you talking to with that?
Marud.
Marud, okay.
I believe it was you who killed a leopard barehanded.
And that draws him back, and
Shite.
seems to melt him a little bit. He says, "Yes, in my time, I have taken down other creatures as well."
Yes, but to save two children's lives, that is truly I am honored to have you in my household.
And for the rest of you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the last time you saw Marud smile? Because I don't.
No.
I don't
So
think ever.
Marud goes from the grim face to a very slight turn at both ends of the cheeks. He says, I am humbled that you would have heard of me. Thank you. Cal, one more thing that I apologize I didn't say. The other thing that Cal would have told you is that he is part of the Explorer Society.
All right.
Which is something you definitely know of.
So I'll when I'm talking to Cal, I'll express my interest to learning more about the society. Think that I could be a very useful member to them if they would be so inclined once we return to London.
And oddly, when he's saying that, Dr. Wright, you're gonna think the same thing. Him being an antiquarian, he definitely could be very valuable to the real Explorer Society.
Oh yes.
If you want to say anything, you may. But
I don't.
I was going to say with Billingsworth.
Billings.
Billings. I just got to add the worth. It's
Right.
For Billings, when I kind of pick up the vibe that he's very like, and
Yes.
this, I am very much going to cater to that.
Oh, good.
So-
Well, then he will walk next to you. I mean, he won't shove anybody out of the way, but he will definitely walk next to you. And any point at which, while you're walking, that you don't fill the gap with explaining things, if there is more than a 15 seconds of silence, he'll ask a question that sounds on the surface to be intelligent, but really kind of doesn't do anything. Like, I noticed the wells over there. Are they filled with water? Well, you're looking over there and there's water in them, so yes. But,
Right.
he's trying to show off. And again, if you keep catering to it, he gets insufferable.
Okay, I will be catering to it.
When Billings says he's in charge of this group, I catch Aiden's eye and shake my head without Billings seeing me.
Right, I get you.
I don't acknowledge it, but I'll note it.
Wolf has been surprisingly, for the most part, quiet.
Yeah,
in
he
this
has been
group.
surprisingly quiet.
But the thing is that more is the fact is like everyone's going around. They're like going, and this is the blah, this is the blah blah. Wolf has not put his gas mask back on. There's moments where he's pausing, he's checking his pulse for a moment, takes a breath, coughs a little, but then like feels his throat for a moment and seems to be making mental notes. as he goes along because he's feeling something going on, especially with him in his throat, because he feels the irritation, but then he feels like it's fighting more than it would be for what he considers normal. He wants to check the others as far as their breathing is concerned to see if he's correct on the theory.
Okay, give me a vitality roll if you're keeping it off. Everybody else is keeping their masks on. Whatever you were wearing, they're wearing.
Yeah. Once.
Wolf got 15.
Okay. So you notice the same basic stuff that Wright did, which is it doesn't have as much effect on you as it does on Wright, but there is a very hot wind that comes in when you draw it in. That breath kind of scars at you. You feel like if you were to do this for an extended period of time, hour to an hour and a half, without putting some form of liquid on it, and probably not alcohol, but some kind of covering liquid, it might start to give you problems.
But then there's like the other thing of like where he's thinking to himself, it's like normal people. But what about? It'll be worth an experiment.
Absolutely. And the other thing is the heat is going to raise your blood pressure. It does for everyone. But for you, it specifically is going to raise your blood pressure. You're going to feel it a little more in your head. If you guys, I don't think you're walking an extended period of time.
No,
but if you were.
So I'm going to look over at Dr. Wolfe, and I'm going to look at his face and stuff and kind of go, oh, my friend, the sun is taking you, please. And I'll pull out a water bottle.
Very good.
And I unscrew it, and I will drink a sip from it, and then kind of watch.
I'm assuming more Boda bag.
I actually figured it was water bottles.
An actual water bottle, okay.
Yeah, all right. And I'll hand it to you.
Thank you, my friend. And it's when he, because you haven't shaken hands with him, it's that moment you notice there's something off about his hand as he grabs it, and it's not until he starts drinking you realize it's not 5 fingers, including thumb, but 6.
Both hands.
Mm-hmm. And they're fully functioning as he takes a drink, and
I'm thinking in my mind, like, very auspicious.
Mm-hmm. For you, depending, actually give me a...
Yes, thank you so much.
What academias do you have?
My academias: alchemy, cryptography, mythology, and...
History?
History, yeah.
You do have history?
Yeah.
Do you have, and I don't know how far you took it. Do you have just history, or do you have ancient history? Do you have Egyptian history, or just history? History. Give me a history roll.
All right. 7. So 9.
So I want to remind you that some of your specializations allow, if you wish to. I'm not pushing you have to, but if you wish to.
I forgot about that. Wisdom of the Ancients.
There you go.
So that would have been actually a 4, so 12.
A 12. All right. Do you want to go with the 12?
I'll go with the 12.
All right. So you're aware that at least in a couple of the dynasties, polydactyly, a couple of the Egyptian dynasties, polydactyly was an actual thing. So I don't know how much genetics your character would know, but it might be odd. He might have some Egyptian in his history.
He may have some
in
of
his
the
lineage.
Some of the blood of the gods.
There you go. Oh, wow. If you go that route, yes. Oh, right, because of your superstitions. Yeah. Yes. Okay, I like that.
Cool.
I like that.
Cool.
So that's so metal. I had no freaking idea.
So, and with the name of Dr. Wolfe, too, I mean, you know.
Names mean things. Names of power.
Well, like the jackal.
Right.
Kind of thing. So, please, I apologize. And I'll motion like this for the driver to bring the car over.
Okay, so you did envision that you've got a vehicle.
Yes. I do not have a driver. I'm renting the driver for the time they're here.
Okay, so you have a car, or you have neither.
No.
All right. And then my other question is...
You walk everywhere in Cairo.
Right, and then my other question is, do you have enough... Did you get something that was more bus-like that...
Yes.
Okay.
So I imagine it looks really beat up, but I've had the driver put like extra care to put like gauze over it and things like that. And inside there is a basket of head wrappings, and there's also things of water. And basically, I'll say, please come in. Take a head wrapping. You will quickly find that your rubber masks of London are very impractical here in the sun. and fresh water, and I will then like call the other guy over who's probably got the little like bicycle thing,
Okay.
and I'll ask him to start putting the belongings on it. And
So
stuff.
he's into the rickshaw type thing. You're going to have the... All right.
or
very
like
good.
the camels. I wasn't sure. So
No,
yeah.
I like the rickshaw idea.
Do people here have weapons out?
I believe some of you are carrying them, but not out.
I mean, in the crowd. Like in the native people of this town, are people carrying? You know, I know that the military had swords, but I mean, in England, I just carry my stuff. You know,
Right.
I have my weapons on
So-
my body.
You'll notice mostly everybody has a blade.
Okay, so
That's what I imagined.
I'm gonna keep my flashing back to season 1. At the end of season 1, I actually procured a headsman's axe,
Yep.
and so I'm gonna put my sprinkler with my luggage, and then I'm gonna keep my axe.
Nice.
All of Wolf's rifles are broken down
And
in his bag.
Wait, are we? So if we're disarming are we disarming since we're in your place?
well, I'm not going to ask
We're in
it.
the
And like I said, you'll actually see
Bus. Okay.
at my right, like at my waist, there's one of the curved blades, like you've seen the other ones. The difference is it looks like it's sort of this greenish metal, and it has a strange patina kind of patterning on it.
If I see that, I'm gonna say, my, that is quite an impressive blade. The patterning on that, is that the kind of metal you have around here? It's beautiful.
In my country, iron has always been rare, but we would find it from meteorites. And I'll draw out the blade and kind of give it a whirl. Very much standing away so it doesn't think that.
And this is the Khopesh?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is a actually authentic Egyptian Khopesh. And I'm bad with years, so I'll spit out
Right.
a year. But if you would care to examine it, the metal is completely meteoritic.
Out of the corner of your eye, you will watch Marud step close enough that he could potentially touch it as well, but he does not put his hand out to grab it.
I would love to. Are you a fine connoisseur of weaponry? I have a customized weapon myself.
Did you take the Khopesh from him?
Yeah. So
okay.
I'll take.
Because I saw you reaching at your
Yeah.
side, as like holding the Khopesh in one hand.
No.
and grabbing it.
I'll take it and look at it and examine and say how beautiful it is and oh my and it's perfectly balanced. This is fine craftsman. Frankie, my boy, would you like to see this? I know you're.
Yeah, Frankie will take it and kind of test the balance of it, and then it passes muster. He'll make an approving face, and then he'll pass it back to the doctor.
Oh, wonderful, Raya.
Marud will step forward. May I?
Forgive me, Ayden. I am passing around your item. May I
No, please,
continue?
you're my guest.
And then I'll show it to Marud.
And so Marud will take it, and he looks to you and just gives you a nod, and he steps away, and he is actually working with it, actually spins it. You have seen very few people that handle it as well as he does. And he nods, he takes a couple of direct cutting swings with it, nods his head, and very very carefully hands it back to you. Bows his head and says, a beautiful weapon. Ancient.
Thank you. You handle it quite well. And it'll have like a red wrapping for the hilt, and then the back part of the hilt is actually the head of Ra. That kind of symbol.
Would anyone at the table know that?
I do, only because
I-
he won't stop talking about it.
I have a history of 2, maybe.
I have history of 3 with
Give
the
me
specialty
a
of
roll if
ropes.
you guys would like to know what it is.
Oh, I definitely know. I got a 21.
Okay.
He hardly
yep.
uses the darn thing.
It's ornamental as far as you're concerned.
Yeah.
It's a 16.
So you also know that, yeah, Ra's pretty straightforward. British museums were pulling stuff for Ra back in the 1850s and 60s. So
Oh, the head of Ra. Wonderful. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to get into the vehicle.
vehicle carriage.
Yeah, I was trying to. In his mind, he's thinking, I better not call it a bus. That might offend them.
Okay, actual question: is it a carriage, or because I took driving carriage, and
Well, so,
now we're throwing around the word car. I'm like, wait a minute, why am I taking driving carriage? If they're
right.
cars?
So
Someone give me a vision of what's going on here.
Carriage is kind of interchangeable.
Okay.
It's your choice. Do you drive with horses? Do you drive horsed or horseless? There, it will be, and here it would be minimal number of horses. There are Arabians that were brought here just before things went bad. So there are Arabians, there are camels. Camels do not pull carriages.
I actually would have made sure that this was actually a horseless one.
Oh no, this one is gas, which is coming.
Okay.
But I was asking for you.
Ah.
Do you envision that you drive horsed or horseless carriages?
I'm gonna go horseless.
Horseless. All right, so go ahead and put that down. Right, just do right car. It's going to be a whole lot easier. So you could drive if you chose to.
So
But
he'll be driving.
okay,
Okay.
wonderful. So
That's
you'll
fine
step
with me.
into it.
You
So-
get a raise, remind me later.
For the rest of you, as you're
God.
getting in,
Just saw this
Ray
score
steps
on his
in,
drive.
sits down, and starts it up. And this is going to be a surprise for most of you. It is gas powered.
Oh yeah, I meant to ask earlier. Do I see any Tesla towers here?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, I haven't so far.
No.
That's what. And I think I would honestly be curious and like take my little Tesla lamp out and probably try and flick it on at one
So
point on the bus.
it sputters on off on off. It's not strong. Whatever it's that you're drawing from is either limited or weak.
He would probably see, though, maybe off a ways from the field, like that little hammer thing that goes down, the pumping.
Sure. Yes.
So-
Yeah. That's a different thing, and that's where this comes. So again, Ray's going to start up the vehicle. It guns up. You guys will hear the clatter. Some of you may have heard a gas engine before. Not all of you will have.
Are they used in London? Like really?
Very, very few, because transport of gas.
I'm older, so I probably would have heard one in my time. I would.
Well,
imagine.
you guys are mostly using electrical.
Yeah,
you
no,
guys really
actually,
have
and
never
I'm
done much with
highfalutin,
gas.
so I probably wouldn't.
Right.
Right.
There is a little bit. So
Only thing I do with gas engines is because of alchemy and stuff like
Right.
that. And even then, it's like we're in a vehicle.
So again, it's going to be a shock to you. I will tell you that the two people that have seen this before are Arthur and Mei Ling, have seen a gas-powered engine. But this is not common. So you guys, as you sit down, you'll feel kind of a shudder that's not there for the electric vehicles that you've been in. You will smell a definite kind of chemical smell that you don't normally smell unless there's open engine.
Scented mask.
There you go. You don't smell a damn thing. All right, so they load in, and
I'll hop in, and as
Ray.
I keep wanting to go Roy, and I think it's like Rob.
It's
Rob
a thing.
Roy, and it's so
Every
burned
game.
into my head.
We've done how many games? And every game is just nobody knows my
Yeah,
name.
just so you know, the joke, the Dishonored game, his Angus character was once in a while referred to as Agnes. So yeah, we get
Okay.
it.
We did that in that one. Every game, I swear.
And there was
new name.
actually a certain
Could
point
you
with
pick
the,
a more, just simple name? I mean, Ray has so many parts to it.
It's too much. One letter. That's what you get.
and we still messed
We're
it up.
still good.
Wait, you said
H,
Q?
right?
No, J.
No, it's P. It's P.
All right, so back to you.
I would like to take you to where you will be staying. The sun takes a while to get used to, so it's usually we recommend that people take a day or so to get acquainted, used to the level of heat. You'll be able to bathe, and then I have set up a large feast in your honor.
Bathing. When was the last time? Frankie, do you remember when the last time any of us were able to have a bath?
Wolf's actually like looking at his own skin because, being from London where it's fog and everything like that,
And grime
I'm sure
and soot.
even in that's only like half an hour, everyone's turning at least pink, if not like bright red like lobsters
Yes,
right now.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
believe the last time was Prague.
Just such a wonderful time. Thank you.
You're my honored guest. I appreciate you choosing to spend time with me and my kind, or me and my family.
So as he drives the vehicle around and the rickshaw follows, I'm assuming it's somebody that you've hired before that you trust.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he knows the address. I mean, so.
Gotcha. Because he's not gonna keep up with the bus.
Right.
So as you guys are sitting in there, at any point when you stop talking for a moment, Mei Ling will speak up and she'll say, "So for For you folks that came on the zeppelin, I wanted to let you know, just in case you see it leaving, the zeppelin needs to head out. The Kingdom of Qatar is one of the only places the helium extractors will be able to work. And they do need to refuel before we leave again.
Well, we will need some time, I suppose, so as long as we have a way out of here, I think it's fine.
The captain told me it will be at least 2 weeks. I'm sorry, sir, but yes, 2 weeks.
No problem.
Very good. And then she just kind of melts back into the seat.
And if you require any more compensation, just wire Grayling. I'm sure he can send some money your way. Money is no object when it comes to Grayling, if there's one thing I know about the boy. Did that wake Grayling up?
Right.
Super?
Somewhere in his bed, he comes up and says, "Oh my God, I've had a horrible dream. The doctor is spending everything in Egypt."
I own a pyramid now.
My boy, we own a pyramid and a sphinx.
It's missing the nose, but I got a deal because of it.
And we can read faster one just looking at other sphinxes around. I'm sure there's hundreds of them. There's probably sphinxes all over Egypt.
And I bought 300 miles of land here. Premium.
It was cheap.
Premium locale.
And I am importing the camels directly.
So on the drive, you guys are quite a ways from the airfield as far as distance goes, and the streets are tight. For you guys, as far as Cairo itself, you will see that there is some kind of street lighting. You're guessing it's gas. You're guessing. You're not certain. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like the electrical street lighting that you're used to in London. Yes.
Oil lamp, like somebody refills it, or like there's piping going to it.
It looks like the one where someone would refill it.
That's
but it doesn't look exactly the same. Mm-hmm. So you're uncertain. In addition to that, most of the buildings are 2-story buildings. There are a couple of buildings that are taller than that. Most of them are built of some kind of stucco or brick. My brain is not working. Adobe bricks. There we go. Yeah. There are a few 3-story buildings, and as you're coming up, a couple of things that you may point out, but you're not going to know to point them out. One is he's gonna point out the National Egyptian Museum, which does not look to be a multi-story building, but is built extravagantly tall. We're looking at over 3 stories in height, somewhere almost 40 feet at the apex. In addition to that, he can show you where the seat of power, the government works. That has stairs, and it has lions at the base, lion statues. There is, again, the two of you would probably know Wolfe and Wright. There are a number of statues. A lot of them have the same look. They're statues of Ramses. They don't necessarily look like they belong here. They look like they were potentially brought here from somewhere else, but they've been cleaned up and set solid. But you look at them, some of them are made out of rose-colored marble, and then the area around them is white marble or sand. So again, differences around. You will see the Palace of the Caliph as he goes by. It's extended and up a rise. You're not certain if it's a natural rise or if it's been built. The palace is not extravagant. This is not the French kings or anything like that. But it's very nice from here, and you guess that if you were allowed to go in, it would be a step nicer. Where he comes into, the buildings start to crush a little bit closer. In England, you would call these tenements. But again, 1- and 2-story endeavors smashed together. More people out. In this area, the buildings are close enough together that there's almost no sunlight. You would guess the only time sunlight hits in these areas, in these streets, is when it's directly overhead. It is effectively a 1-car distance from one side to the other. If it got any closer, this vehicle couldn't head down that road. And you see people who will step out of the way. Ray is not driving like a madman. They'll step out of the way, step back into doorways. You see a few children. The children are wearing just the equivalent of a loincloth and nothing more. Most of the children are very dark in color. You're guessing because they are out in the sun, or maybe the skin's being burnished by the winds that are here. As you're driving, even in these tight areas, the tenement areas, you will hear, you won't be able to see it very well, but you will hear something continuously buffeting around the edges of the bus, like small pieces of stone are hitting the bus. They're not loud, it's not clanging, but it's continuous enough that you guys become aware of it after maybe a minute or two of driving, and then become truly aware of it about 5 minutes in. And then as you get out to closer to 10 and 15 minutes, it just becomes background noise and goes away.
I mean, I'll ask. I mean, if it's that deafening and like...
Well, it's not deafening. It's consistent.
Well, if it's... I mean, Ayden, what's that terrible racket that I'm hearing?
I'll kind of like pause for a moment. Like,
and what Ayden will tell you is it's the winds here. The winds carry something on them. He's uncertain what. It's one of the reasons... And do you want to tell him that you're excited to go into Egypt?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, to go to England? He'll tell you that's one of the reasons he is so ecstatic to come see London.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I'll sit there for a moment because I'm not sure what he's talking about, and then I'll realize it and say, yes, the winds carry odd things, and sometimes they bring troubles, other times disease. It is why we are careful and try to keep ourselves covered, even if we do not wear a respirator. But this is one of the things I look forward to, moving to your lovely country, the beautiful weather and clear skies.
Yes, our beautiful weather. Well, I suppose we don't have anything more than the light on the wind.
Cal will reach over to you and say, Doctor, maybe we should table this for another day. Maybe just talking about this beautiful country is what's important right now.
Yes, I think you're right about that. Yes. I believe you would have quite an interest in coming and visiting London, as we are here.
Cal turns to you and says, London is very, very different than Egypt. Very different.
That is very accurate.
I've heard many tales of your wonders and of your Iron City.
And Cal smiles and says, yes, it's wonderful, and we can talk about that later, but please, what is this building up here? And Cal definitely directs you away from talking about London as best he can. As you come through the tenements, and it's probably been about 15 minutes of driving. Now, when you guys were up in the air looking out, Cairo was laid out as a very long strip. It may be a half mile in width, but I guess maybe somewhere between 7 and 10 miles in length. There is some form of wall around it. The wall didn't look anywhere near the size of the ones that you guys saw either in Prussia or are used to in London.
But they will sometimes catch out further out what looks like a wall that looks like was British built.
Yep.
But it's in horrible disrepair.
Yep. And he can, and Ayden, go ahead and point that out to them.
So you'll see our city. We have these walls that protect us. For some reason that we have not been able to determine the animates, I believe is the word you use.
You use the Walking Dead, which is no copyright infringement. It's just that's what you use.
Right. I figured that, or like the Sidu, which I think is the Egyptian zombie.
I'll look that up if that's correct. We're going to change that word. I had them as Walking Dead, but I like that word better. I'll go see.
It's like SEDU, I think.
Okay.
But for some reason, they do not try to breach the wall. When the British first came here, my grandfather was instrumental in building the wall out there. Unfortunately, about 25 years later, as they neared completion, somehow the zombies made it inside the walls, and what was once a large population was forced to move into this smaller area. Many died, and the zombies seemed to almost attack the walls for some unknown reason.
What is the current animate situation in the city?
The city, there are no animals in the city. Outside the city, there are occasional packs and such.
I'm gonna meet Raya's eye And actually, I'm sitting next to her. I'm going to lean over and go, I remember the last time there were no animates in a space.
As do I.
Well, you guys, the group from London, I'm not saying anything about the Egyptian group, but the group from London, you know that somebody dies, there is a chance that they can come back. So even within just a room where there's never been an animate before, somebody dies, there could be an animate there. So no animates inside the city walls. Sounds like he either doesn't know what he's talking about, is unaware of them, or is blatantly falsifying it. And
No.
he does not seem like the type of person that would falsify it.
Frankie's path of his thinking is definitely towards some kind of zombie lord situation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
very
But-
good.
Because land is so expensive, only the rich can afford to actually pay for land within the city walls to build tombs, and they're quite elaborate affairs. Like the great pharaohs that some of them descend from, the poorer people, we are required to burn or cremate our bodies. And the ashes are usually stored within the family in a place of honor.
Arthur will break in and he says, that's very interesting. London does a similar thing. The wealthy are able to keep the bodies intact. In fact, many of the mourners work in... I'm sorry, Madam Raya, I hope I'm not stepping on any toes explaining this, but my understanding is that is part of the mourner's job, is to work for some of the wealthier to make certain that if they do animate, they are set back to rest easily.
Indeed. That's why I was working for the Grayling family.
Yes, very good, very good. But this is true. The poor are fairly unceremoniously burned as well, and the ashes spread in places that they wish them to be spread. So it's interesting that they would grow the same ways in different areas. And can we? And Myling pulls on his arm. You guys will all see this. He says, I was just hoping possibly if we could see the tombs. And then he sits down quietly.
Certainly. I have taken care to arrange a tour. You should know, though, it is very dangerous. That is something I can talk about later.
Very good, very good. And as you guys say that, you come out of the tenement section and come into a larger area. Now, for you, did you envision, when you said it, you said that the tombs are inside the city walls.
Right.
They are.
Well, yeah, that the rich do.
Yes.
And they're kind of like, I imagine like they kind of built things on
Yep.
top of each other.
So as you guys come out, and it would make sense to me, that's where your living space, not in the tombs,
Right.
but that's where your space is overlooking the tombs.
Right.
So you guys will come out of the tenement rows into a slightly wider area, and the reason you realize it is you actually see sun on one of the two-story buildings. So it's opened up a bit, and Ray has a little more free hand as far as driving. As you come out, I'm just going to have the building, you cut a deal with the people that live next to you to give up their residence and stay somewhere else. So you paid for them to stay somewhere else, either with family or possibly in some form of a hotel. And Ray will pull up in front of the next door neighbor's place that you're staying.
Right.
And do you have your sign out front of your building? Is
Yeah,
it left
I was going
up?
to say that. So you'll see a sign that says, and you'll notice it says Samir Carter, Antiquities, and I'm not sure, something else.
Oddities? No.
No, like Antiquities
And curios.
And curios, there we go. Looking inside, you'll see that it looks almost like a museum. There's tons of things and various stuff. It's not so much where it's like one of those stores where you feel like things are going to fall on you. There's just so much stuff everywhere, but there's like sections of swords and sections of various pieces of armor and statues and vases and stone and what looks like scrolls and various things all around. And then above it, you will see what looks like a house. It looks like, you'll notice both buildings looks like there's a garden on top.
Okay.
And you'll hear the sound of like running water. And they'll be painted so the bottom part is a darker color, and then the top part is a lighter color. And the idea is so it stays cooler.
Okay.
So the heat gets out easier, but the darker part keeps the cool in there.
This
kinda.
goes way over Frankie's head. He's just kind of like, two colors. That's weird.
When I open the car and help you out and stuff, a bunch of children will come running up, and what I'll do is I will take the water bottles that you guys all had, and any that you haven't drunk, I'll pour into you and give it to the kids, and the kids will say something, and then kind of go running off.
Mm.
And then, but they'll just like mob around me. They might mob around you too, and like poke you. And I imagine they like.
If no one says anything, if no one else says
They've
anything,
learned.
Cal's going to ask you what's up with the children.
They are less fortunate than me, and water is very expensive. So instead of wasting it, it is a custom to give them what you have not drunk.
It's a very good, very charitable way of doing things. I like that.
Yeah, Frankie will hand his bottle to one of the kids.
And I imagine they kind of run around with little cups and stuff
Sure,
like that.
that
too.
makes sense to me.
Wolf will start to pour some out of his.
Arthur will begin to do it, and Mei Ling will put her hand on his and say something in his ear, and he just nods and pulls it back.
Okay.
And actually will drink a little bit and then cover it again.
I'll take a drink of mine and then pour what little remains.
Okay?
I'm an elder.
So, I will sort of, for the ones that drink first and then pour it in there, I will be like, be very smiling to. I'll kind of hide my reaction to
Billings and Mei Ling.
Billings and Mei Ling, but I will kind of like go, wow, what a faux pas kind of thing.
I'm keeping an eye on the situation and on the environment because there's never not animals.
I am going to lean over to Raya. I'm going to say, what does that sign say?
What sign?
The one in front of the business.
That one is in British, English, and Egyptian, so you should be able to read it.
Frankie's-
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Frankie is illiterate, right? Yep.
So I tell you that the sign says Samir Carter, Antiquities and Curios. Our friend is a business owner.
Interesting. Thank you.
And so do you take them into the next door neighbors?
Yeah, so I'll take them in there.
Do the doors have locks?
I would imagine not, and that's because of who I am and stuff in the neighborhood. I've kind of established I'm the fixer, basically. You know,
Okay.
you don't want to mess with me because if you mess with me, I make your life a living hell.
So your door does not have locks. Does your neighbor's door have
No,
a
they
lock?
do not have
so
locks.
do anyone in your general district?
I imagine locks are probably pretty expensive.
I would think so too. That's what I was
So
asking.
that-
All right.
I don't think they would have any.
Very good. So you bring them in, and
Besides, most people know better.
the next door neighbors is also a 2-story building. They also there's obviously it's some form of a sales shop downstairs, but it has been opened up to allow. There's 2 cots. Go ahead.
Actually, what I was imagining that they had a small garden in the middle. There wasn't any salesperson there, which is why I got it.
Okay.
And then what I did was paid some people and had my aunt make sure it was all cleaned up and
Right,
stuff,
sure,
you
sure.
know, and an impeccable kind of thing.
Okay. And I'm assuming cots brought in to sleep on in
Yes.
different sections, so they'll be in groupings.
Well, they have so. At some point when I'm bringing you in here, I'll say, water is waiting for you in your rooms. Water is very precious, but please enjoy your bath. You will notice a few things. There will be a small container of something that might smell like milk to you. This is a lotion we use to cover our skin to protect it from the sun. I would highly encourage you to use it as the sun is very cruel.
And you are definitely darker than I think, maybe not Raya, but you're darker than any of the other ones. Ray, what do you envision being Irish? And I'm assuming redheaded.
Well, he's been here.
Imagine
for like-
Why
I know,
is
but
it-
that's why I'm asking.
I'm still white as a sheet. I
That's what
definitely
I
use
figured.
this lotion. It's like,
All right, perfect.
use the lotion. It'll make your life a living hell if you don't.
The other thing is there will be mosquito netting around your bed. Right now, the concern is not mosquitoes, but there are these flies known as tsetse flies. These flies have a bite that causes a sort of sleep symbolysis, or like a sleeping sickness. So,
Somnambulism? Is
yeah.
that it?
yeah, it's like you kind of enter this sort of fugue state. So I'd encourage you to use those.
Very good.
And so Arthur's going to ask. Let me ask you: when we are finished with the baths that you so kindly offered, what do we do with the water?
The water will be taken care of.
Very good.
We use it to water the gardens and such.
So now, if you guys remember, when he first was talking with you, he had said that he hasn't seen greenery. Not that you're going to think of him as a liar, but here you guys are inside. There are gardens. They're definitely different plants than you guys are used to, but they are growing, and there are greens amongst the browns and yellows, and the browns and yellows don't look dead. Like, they look like the correct color.
Because I could just see Billings asking about that, because I said it, to make himself look at it, I'll say, well, I've heard tales that of places like Scotland and Ireland and England, there are just vast hills of green and hedge and
you
clover.
can see that Billings is leading to say something, and Cal steps across the group over to Billings and says, "Arthur, may I ask you a question?" And she pulls him, or he pulls him aside. Cal pulls him aside, and they're quietly talking.
Mr. Ayden, has anyone harvested the Tetsi, the venom?
I'm going to kind of have a little bit of a wicked grin. And I have heard rumor that there are some who have learned how to acquire this toxin.
Dr. Wright, I could certainly imagine some uses for that.
Oh, well, Frankie, my boy, I'm sure we can find a lot of uses for a lot of things. Let us first get a bath going and have a decent night, and then perhaps we can talk about Tootsie pardon me, Tetsua flies, I don't know.
Tetsi flies.
Tetsi flies, thank you. We can always talk poisons and venoms later.
Any Tetsi flies that bite you, Dr. Wright, will get high on methamphetamines.
That is accurate and also thievery. So I hope none of them bite me.
Spit it out!
That's why you catch them and you dry them out and crush them up.
Could you imagine the type of meth from that mixture?
Tsetse and
No, I think I'm going to stay here. This is fine.
the opium dens, the normal opium dens have nothing of what you're making.
We usually
Crystal Tsetse.
we market it as though it's like we capture one in like almost like amber, except it's
every one of the lids, when you buy a jar of it or when you buy an ampule of it, it has just a piece of amber with a fly in it as the stopper.
Right.
I thought we were collecting an events group of. Never mind. I clearly misunderstood you.
So you can take them amongst everything else. You can also take them to the roof.
So
ahead.
I take them to the roof. I show them the gardens and stuff. I will say, usually we do not come out here until twilight. It is somewhat cooler then.
And it's stifling hot up here, with the addition of you've got the moisture from the plants in the localized area making it a little bit humid as well. Tiny bit, and we're not talking suddenly you're in a sweltering sauna, but
I also imagine it's really fragrant because there's a lot of things like jasmine and other flowers that are very like...
Yeah, it's not going to be overly so. I know what you're saying. It's not going to be overly so, and it's not going to affect you at all. But there is definitely a smell. It's the first time you guys are going to get smell from flowers that were not specifically hothouse grown.
I take off one of my gloves and I go up to the garden and I'm gonna touch the leaves and then break one in my fingers and then put it in my pocket.
Interesting.
So I have prepared a feast for you. It will be served at the twilight hour. I realize that is somewhat early for Londoners, but it is a very robust feast. We eat multiple courses here. More than I believe it's the 7 or the 6, the polite number. I hope that is okay. And let me lead you each to your room. And
so for those of you who are on the roof, what you're going to see is the direction that you drove in. You can see back. You can't quite see the airfield itself. There's just enough of a slope that you're not seeing it. but you do see the buildings heading back. You can see the palace from the roof here, again, at a distance, and not all of it. You're not looking down on it, you're looking straight into it. The other direction, you guys can see a number of temples built one on top of the next on top of the next. Unlike here, where 2 stories seems to be the height, unless it's a governmental building or a royal building, out there, by estimates, you're guessing 4, 5, maybe even 6 stories in height. But they're weird shortened stories. They don't look like they're a full structure of height, a full 10 feet. Maybe your guess from here is maybe they're, for 6 levels, they're possibly 35 or 40 feet. But you guys, I don't know if you guys want to ask about it, but you will absolutely see it. The wall goes around the back end, and it looks like these are being built from the back of the wall forward.
Barry, are there things like trellises or awnings or something where you could potentially get from the roof?
You're going to look over the edge?
Yeah.
Give me a wits roll.
Oh yeah, it's like Assassin's Creed out there.
I got a 9.
Yeah, so normally when you're watching some kind of an Arabian setting, they're generally 3 or 4 story. These are 2 story. But yes, there is an attempt to try and safeguard from the heat. So there are awnings over pretty much every window, many of which would be small and may not be able to structurally hold you, to ones that are very large. A good portion of them are dark in color to the middle. It looks like something is sitting in them and putting a weight, which of course sets to the center as it stretches the cloth there. Black or brown, it looks more stained and less, like it's not a big clump of dirt, it's dirt to the actual materials there. But as far as you can see, yeah, all the way down here, down that street, down that street, down that street. You really don't see them anywhere until you get to the dead man's area, or the open area between where the city ends and the temples begin. And you may give me another wits roll for that. Frankie can give me a wits roll for that unless you're not looking.
Yeah, I came over when she started peering over the edge.
I got a 12.
I got a 17.
And don't
Okay.
worry, the awnings don't have to hold me for very long.
No, I understand. So Raya doesn't necessarily occur to you immediately, but Frankie, it immediately occurs to you. You will notice that where the temples are, there is a front area. You're guessing somewhere between 100 and 200 feet in distance. It is just sand or something like sand. With everything around, you're making that assumption. The sand has been bleached. You can see literally the heat coming off of it. At the edge of that sand is a small waterways. Maybe you're guessing 10 feet in width. You have no idea of depth. On the other side of it, there are a number of people, maybe 30 people along the entire length, maybe separated by 40 or 50 feet between them. They are each sitting on it looks like a chair or a throne or a stump. You're not certain. It does have a back to it. And they are facing towards the temple, each of them. Can't really tell a whole lot because, again, they are all sitting. They are covered in the same white sheets that you've seen, or white cloth. I didn't mean sheets. White cloth that you saw at the airfield.
All right, I won't point at them with my finger, but I'll kind of look at them with my eyes and say, "You see those weirdos?"
Do you?
I'll look at them and I'll say.
All right, now if you want to give me, and I apologize, what's the actual roll? You don't need which. If you will give me an intellect roll.
Okay.
Everyone wear bed clothes around here.
I got a 13.
So Ayden had described whalers to you as a similar job to yours. You are pretty much certain that's what all of those are.
So I will let you know, I believe those weirdos are the Egyptian counterparts to myself.
Do you think they can fight like you?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say, you two are there, can eavesdrop.
they're fine.
I'm sure they can handle themselves.
You have seen and for both of you, You have never seen one of the Whalers without the coverings, okay? But when they yell, it definitely sounds more feminine than masculine. If they're males, you would assume they were castrati. So you're guessing they're females. When things have happened outside the wall, a number of them will show up to fight with the men, and they are as effective with their weapons as the military are with their guns.
I also tell them that we never see their face too, and they have a very distinct yell, and I'll try to la 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 la, or
Wow.
I'm not sure I'm doing them justice, but here's what it is.
Yeah.
And you're like, that was insulting.
That wasn't even remotely close. They're good. Let's leave it at that.
Okay.
So I'll take them back inside and then show them the rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And when I actually spent some cash on this.
Okay.
So when I take her to her room, it will have what I imagined an Indian kind of thing would be. It may or may not be accurate.
Right, and again, for the people listening, Raya is her family is from India.
I immigrated with my family when I was 4 or 5.
Very good. So, what you imagine Indian
Right,
stuff
from
would
what
be.
I've read and stuff like that. And I will, basically, there will be a small set in glass page of, I forget the Hindu holy book, but it'll be kind of preserved and stuff.
Oh my God, why is it not coming to me?
Yeah, I know.
Bhagavad Gita?
Yep.
Yeah. And so that'll be as a gift for her. In Dr. Wolfe's room, there will be a really old 16th century anatomy, French anatomy book
Okay.
for him.
French anatomy, I like that. Okay.
Like it was, back.
No, but I like that it's French and not English.
And then,
Ooh la la.
and
The
Frank,
fold outs, but it's all with skinless.
well, I imagine there's sections so we were able to get
I
all
look at the
these.
femurs on that one.
I had to be stuff after the revolution, we were able to get all these cadavers.
Right.
Has some witty name like La Guillotine. Science.
Oh, there's a vertebrae on that one.
Frankie will have in her room a very
His
hard,
room.
His room.
or his room, sorry, in his room, very hard to find, but it will be a Colt revolver.
This is probably the nicest thing Frankie's ever held in his hands. And he's going to say, this is far too much to give to me. I appreciate the gesture. I cannot accept this.
Please, it is a custom in our culture, and I've heard so much about you. I just wish to let you know that my home is your home.
He'll come over and he'll kind of clasp forearms with you and he'll say, I owe you one.
These gifts are very generous.
Yeah, especially considering I live in a flat outside of town.
That was
then-
my gift to
Wow.
you.
So my gift to you is I do have a small hovel in town.
So for Ray, for Ray, I imagine I've set up a room for him here. and
Here in
stuff,
town,
so
yeah.
he
Well,
can-
you don't want him having to come back
Right.
and forth.
Yeah, I'm
because-
still on contract, so.
So, and then in Dr. Wright's room, there is a very long, ornate Chinese pipe. And there is some hashish.
Oh no.
So,
yeah.
Because
I know that Grayling would not have told you that part of it, even
well-
though everyone knows. But I could still see that being.
I was thinking he
Yeah.
hid it to me in a very polite English way. Dr. Wright sometimes needs certain meditationals for his...
Medicinals, yeah, okay.
And so,
I could see Grayling doing that.
if you don't want to...
No, I think it's interesting. And what I'm going to assume is that though you are not a charmer per se, you are very good at listening to people and reading between the lines.
Right.
So I like that. I like that.
So,
I would never have even seen this, right?
Nope, you would never even seen this.
Oh, my, what? This is a wonderful pipe. This is so ornate. It's gorgeous. What is that?
And I'm assuming as you're bringing each one into their room, they're staying. So it's just you and Wright now.
So and that's why I went with him last.
Yep.
This is known as hashish. It is said to awaken one's mind to the universe. And I'll show him how you like kind of put a little bit in there,
Pack it
and like
in.
you light it, and then you like
Just a little bit.
just a little bit goes a long way.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Be very, I would say, about a tip of a thumb's worth. Any more, and it can be very enlightening.
Enlightening, you say.
Right, I imagine the second he walks out, Wright's trying to figure out how to get the entire piece into the barrel of the pipe.
I thank you. I thank you deeply. I say this is most generous. You are a wonderful host. I greatly look forward to what you have planned for us for dinner. Trying a new cuisine. It's wonderful, wonderful. And I very much look forward to this bath. I can't tell you how much. So again, I thank you.
Thank you.
And the minute he leaves,
You're loading the bail.
I'm disrobing, taking off my. It's very unseemly now that no one's around. Just
Right, all the skin sagging everywhere.
My ghost wife is over in the corner, just like looking at me like, really? And I'm like, not right. It's hot. Not right now, please. And I'm gonna go to the bath, and I'm gonna take. Yes, I'm not gonna listen to that prescription. I'm gonna say, I am a doctor. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to put plenty in there. I'm gonna get in the bath, and I'm gonna go ahead and have myself a time.
All right.
So
Very
speaking
good.
of bath, Wolf thanks you very profusely for this gift. This is a rare artifact, if anything. But after you leave, it's not the thing he focuses on. Instead, he actually focuses on his arm, and actually he starts stripping down to go to the bath too. But he's watching and he starts to move his hand, and the skin's already peeling.
Absolutely.
The skin's already peeling, and it's already starting to tan, and he's running his hands over his face, and he's like rubbing it, and like it's like almost like time lapse, just how much his skin is going from the burns to healing to tanning, as he just is.
And this
like,
won't happen while you're in there.
no. And he's wondering to himself, it's like, I wonder if Frankie is going under something similar. And he's taking actually bits of his skin and he's like putting it in jars for a moment as he's and he
Wait, in jars?
well, not,
Like multiple?
maybe like a jar. Maybe like a jar. He's like taking some of the skin
You're keeping your
detritus. I am keeping my skin because this is my obsession, because of what's happening to me. I have to understand it. And especially this kind of rapid, like, you know.
All right, so he's going down the Howard Hughes rabbit hole.
Are you
Yeah.
sure you don't transform
First thing it's
into a
collecting
lizard
skin legs.
instead?
Next thing
is
it's
talking.
talking around in Kleenex boxes.
Yeah, where Dr. Wolfe is finding delight in this new experience, Frankie is disgusted. He's gagging a little bit as he's pulling off like strips of dead skin. This is super gross.
And then, since Ray's been doing a hell of a job for me and been helping me out, when he opens his door, there's going to be a big case of like Egyptian beer.
Oh, very
There you
nice.
go.
There you go.
Because I like to take care of my employees. So.
After
But it's
the,
not Guinness.
yeah. After the bath, and after I assume it's been long enough that Raya has concluded hers as well, I am going to take my shaving kit and go knock on your door.
Okay.
I need assistance removing the hair off of my head. I cannot bear another moment.
I will help you.
That was not going where I was thinking. I had no idea.
Before I take my bath,
Uh-huh.
I do want to check the room and make sure there are no peepholes.
Very good. Yep, go ahead and give me a...
Tickle
So I would
me a
normally
skull
have you
bar.
do a wits roll.
I'd be offended
Let me
if
see
you
if there's
did.
anything else that I'd rather have you do.
Little
Listen
jars
there.
of skin, Michael.
Go ahead
Are
and
you
give
listening on the wall
me.
for little tinks of
Go ahead
checking?
and give me a
No,
shadow
but
roll.
what she doesn't realize is there's a small boy painted like half the roof. He's just hanging up there and recording.
Oh,
everything.
even better! It's a little girl with black eyes.
We can't escape her.
No.
She'll never leave.
That would be a 10.
Eternal.
With a 10, no. You knock around. The wall seems solid. You don't see any holes or openings. You can draw the curtains on the window, and they are near blackout curtains with no little speck holes. So you're feeling very comfortable,
Okay, so
as much as you're going to be.
I will bathe. I would like to let everyone know I am not dressing like a mourner right now.
Well, you're going to tell them that when you come out,
Well, I
or did you warn them ahead of time?
By the way,
Wait, I want to make sure no one's peeping. Then I'm going to walk out butt naked and go, "Hey guys, I'm not dressed like a mourner anymore."
I didn't on the.
It's mourners got wild. Woohoo! Spring break.
for our listeners at
Anyway.
home, Jill and mine opening her shirt.
I am just wearing a dark colored dress with
Oh,
my
wow.
corset, my
So like a
armored-
noblewoman.
armored corset, and my weapons.
Okay.
But I'm not wearing any of the veils or anything right now.
Okay. Well, now you haven't. I know you haven't been wearing
I
the
haven't-
veils, but you're not
yeah.
even dressing like a mourner then.
I'm just wearing the dress without the veils and the hat
okay.
and all that stuff.
Okay. Very good.
If Wolf is late to dinner, by the way,
Is he late to dinner?
he is late. Well,
All right.
despite his time sense, he's been taking bits of his skin
And putting it in jars. Yeah, we got that.
Putting it in like liquids and like observing it, putting it under like a microscope and just like observing the dead cells and everything like that. And he's just been so focused that it's not until someone like raps on his door that he realizes, oh,
Did you ever get in the bath then?
no.
Ew.
After I'm done shaving Frankie's head, I'll go rap on his door
I'll
Yep.
come with.
and say, Dr. Wolf, are you ready for dinner?
Yes, I'll be down in about. Give me 5 minutes.
Allow me a moment with him, Raya.
Of course.
I'll knock on your door now.
You're knocking on my wall door
And I'm
again.
going to say, open the door.
And at that point, it's like I open the door.
And so I'm looking for the similar tan on him as well.
Yep.
Alright. You're going to be late.
Yes.
Goodbye.
So, I'm assuming the meal's not going to be served in the next door neighbor's house. It's going to be served in your house.
Right.
Okay.
Wolf's like maybe.
What do you do as far as space with getting everybody a place to sit? Or is
So,
everyone going to stand? Or are you outside your building?
I figure it's going to be like a traditional Arabic meal, so it's going to be a low table. We're all going to have tons of pillows. It'll probably seem weird because like I'm just going to like lay out on the
Well,
side. But,
with this many people, you're packed in there.
right, but yeah, I'm just going to have. And then like the first course would be like sort of like some sort of salad or things, and then the next one would be a like fruits and
Fruits and salad?
So it's gonna. So I'll curtail it a bit. So one of the things that I had been agonizing over was making the decision on what to do. I wanted to do some changes. So Egypt was definitely different than London. One of the things was to allow stuff to actually grow here, and the changes in the way the blight is affecting this area. Egypt has been historically the breadbasket of the world. I mean, that's changed, and we can talk about Nebraska and Kansas and that kind of thing. But historically, that's been it, and it's been because of the Nile. Because things have changed, the blight is having an effect. So, had you guys seen fruits and vegetables and that type of stuff back prior to the blight, say at the 1900s, the turn of the the 20th century, these are not going to look like it. Knowing that you guys haven't seen them, this is what they look like now, and they are generally. You've got to be careful. Things rot a little quicker.
Right.
Some of the things may look good but have a bad seed to them. But if you take the time, they are actually growing, and that was one of the things. The roof gardens, in addition to the flowers and such, had weird bulbs and weird roots, and any of you guys that was watching the roof foliage notices some of it is in those two bowls. So before you get too far in there are goats, so goat meat is possible. There are no pigs. They do not eat camel or horse. They're just too valuable at this point. There is another meat. You know what it is. They may not. So it's dog.
Okay.
But they would not know that.
Well, so I probably don't eat dog because being raised like in a Muslim family.
Right. Okay.
But so yeah, there's couscous, and I was kind of imagining the fruit like Barry was talking about being kind of weird, like weird spikes or things like that.
Right.
You know,
right. And you tell them like cut off these spikes. Don't eat those.
You have to eat that in like 10 seconds, or it's just going to go bad as soon as you cut it.
Yep.
And then the big dish is basically a whole goat, and I would imagine it's probably going to look weird because it's got a fifth leg or something like that. So but it's like basically it's there's parts on bone, and then there's parts chopped up in like a kind of curry dish you put on the couscous, and then there's just a bunch of like pulled goat meat and other things like that.
There would be yogurts and that type of stuff there as well. It's definitely a different meal. And Ray, when you came over here 8 years ago, it was a long time getting used to it. Not just, hey, does this taste okay, but your actual body being able to digest this stuff.
Yeah, it was a rough couple months.
And then the other weird thing will be like, so there's no silverware.
No.
And basically everything is, there's like big spoons, but it's basically you put what you want on your plate and you eat it with your hands.
Gotcha.
And I'll be,
And you'll model that eating style first. Very good. Well, so as far as food goes, at births, you've seen a spread like this at the Graylings. Frankie has probably never. Wolfe has probably never. Raya also would have seen a spread like this potentially at the Graylings.
Yes.
Yeah, and Ray no. So this is, and Ray, chances are he's seen how many meals like this?
Right.
3, 4 at your place? Not many.
Right.
And Ray, the other thing is, this is probably the second time, we'll discuss the first time, this is probably the second time you've ever met people not from around here. Not necessarily Egypt, you've met people from different small settlements and stuff. But these people are where you're from. These people are from somewhere else, and this is possibly the second time.
I was told some very important people were showing up on an airship, and we don't get big airships like that very often.
Never. Since you've been here, there has never been an airship land.
So yeah, someone told me they're important.
Yep.
Oh, you told me.
For you, you can kind of, yeah, he told you. For you, Ray, taking these people in, your feeling with them is there's definitely a professionalism for some of them. Not a lack of professionalism, but they're not as polished. Some of them are not as polished at certain points where you would think they would be. In your mind, because you've seen a caliph from another area come in here, you've seen a king from another area come here. They're not that. This isn't royalty.
No, absolutely.
But there's definitely a difference. And the mix, the thing you're going to definitely see is the mix of people. Competence for fighting, you're going to pick out the fighters pretty quickly. You're confident about that. But competence amongst them, there's a couple of them that you're uncertain of. You're looking and saying, okay, this person is portraying things this way, but there might be something hidden with them.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're thinking that, the doctor finally gets there.
Yeah.
Dr. Wolfe shows up.
Yeah,
So
Wolfe shows up. While he didn't take the full bath, he at least wiped himself
Sure.
down and at least made himself look presentable.
And you two, Ray and Ayden, give me a wits roll.
Ah. Oh, wait. It's like 2, and then you add the 3. For a second, I was thinking L5R there.
Yep.
Ooh, 15.
15?
I've got a 9.
Got a 9. All right, so it's not going to click with you.
Yeah.
You're going to notice, because the doctor will walk behind Frankie and then walk behind one or two of the other ones. Both the doctor and Frankie are slightly darker, but noticeably so than they were when you first met them. Most everyone else has a bit of red tint. Mei Ling oddly doesn't, but she's not dark or anything. Just Mei Ling does, and then of course Maru does not. But all the others have their pink tint, rosiness to their cheeks. Those two are slightly tanned already.
Before it gets too far, did anybody come to get Dr. Wright?
No, he told you to come down.
No, he told me. He told me to come down.
So that's great.
That's what I'm saying. Told me to come down.
So Wolf's not the last one.
Wolf's not the
Victory
last-
for Wolf.
So Wolf comes back, and I'm assuming it's going to be you that's going to ask.
Yeah, I will ask him, sit down, and I go, where's Dr. Wright?
And all of you realize at this point, where is Dr. Wright?
Maybe the old fart had a heart attack and died in the bathtub.
I will ask.
Frankie, maybe you and I should go check on him.
You're right.
Okay.
Okay, so the two of you go up, and
I just opened the door. I don't know.
So you see me, I'm still in the bathtub.
are you still? Oh my God.
And I have
I'm
the
gonna
pipe
reach
and
back. I'm gonna reach back and cover Raya's eyes. And I'm gonna say, "Wait out here."
So there is a definite smell in here that you guys. No, not a stink.
Oh.
Not
no,
let me say it this way. So the horrible old man smell is being covered by the smell of the burnt hashish.
no, I'm just
Okay.
laying in the bathtub, and I'm looking up at this. I'm actually looking over at the corner, and I'm like, "Well, honey, I think that if I just created maybe like 4 of you at once, then I could pick the best parts, build the best one together."
I interrupt this by
then-
snapping in his face.
And then one moment,
Doc.
Frankie, I'm on a roll here. And then if I'm able to use the notes from the Institute, I think I could jam you into the new...
I'm gonna flick water in his face.
Oh, Frankie, my boy. Is it almost time for dinner? I was just having a bit of a conversation and a thought or two.
Is there a towel nearby I can grab?
Oh yes.
From outside the room with my back turned, I go, honestly, Doctor, I'm ashamed and disgusted.
Me too.
From bathing? This is the least disgusting thing I've done on this whole trip. I think, and I'll just stand up.
I hold the back towel up
Right.
and I throw it on him.
I say, thank you, Frankie. Now, is it almost time for dinner? I am famished.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Frankie, would you please hand me my holster, and then I'll get my suit, and then I'll be good to go in a couple of
I
minutes.
like holster, butt naked,
Yeah.
holster on first.
And then shoot around you.
Yeah, he's not in. You're thinking he's not in his right mind.
So
Yeah.
you know, Frankie, I'm quite tired. This hashish that.
And you can
kind
hear him. He's
Ayden-
not quiet, Raya. You can definitely hear.
Ayden gave is
And that
quite
is something you know about. Not that you've taken it, but
Yes.
you do know of it.
I think I've had enough of this for now. So I'll put it on the table and I'll hop out and I'll put my shirt on and say, "Oh, Frankie, I put the holster on first." That's so silly. Okay, and I'll take my jacket off. I'll put my button up on, and then my jacket. I miss a button. It's the wrong way.
I do
I'll
not
tuck it
fix
in.
the button.
I'll tuck
Frankie,
it in.
my boy, these are the exact
Yeah.
clothes I came in, and now I need to get
Oh,
the clean one.
this is ridiculous. So I'll go and I'll shift through. Do I want the blue one or do I want the red one or the pink one? No, not the pink one. There's not pink. And then I'll cobble together an outfit.
How much of that did you smoke?
A lot. He said the first knuckle is how much to do. The first knuckle of my thumb. So I did that. Now we should really get to dinner. We don't want to keep them waiting. And
Once
I'll
he
put
has pants on, I'll wave Ryan.
I'll put my holster and I'll pull out the gun and I'll say, "I think it's still loaded," and I'll pop out the sword. Okay, good. You never know when we. It'll spin it and I'll say,
Can I take this gun?
Oh
from you?
no! Click.
I would like-
and I'll put it away.
I would like to roll to take the gun.
Okay, you certainly may.
It's
Like
not gonna be a high
coordination?
number.
Yeah, if you're gonna grab it as an unarmed combat, right? So that would be That would be, unarmed combat.
Doctor, you can keep the gun. Just give Frankie the bullets.
I got a 17.
Yeah.
Very good. And Doctor, for you, you're gonna.
Oh, I'm not gonna resist. It's
Okay.
not, yeah, I know. So,
I'll
Frankie, you got it.
I'll shake the bullets out and put them in my pocket and then give the gun back.
Oh, thank you, Frankie. Okay, that's probably a smart idea. I was like, wait, is it click? Click? Yes, it's good. Okay, perfect.
I look at you with utter disgust.
My blood pressure is just ticking up. It's just ticking up.
We should go to dinner, and I'll put on my jacket.
I'm gonna grab him by the arm. I don't care. He doesn't have shoes on. We're leaving now.
Oh,
I forgot how much I missed Dr.
I
Wright.
know. Right? So I'll come down. Aiden. Thank you again for that gift. It is wonderful. The pipe is wonderful.
Frankie looks murderous behind him.
And this feast, all the smells, the fragrance, and I'll just ask about what to eat. I'll just start. I mean, you tell me one thing, I'd start eating it.
Yeah,
I'm still looking at him with disgust.
for anyone who asks, I tell them like, "Oh, this is really good," and put some of this on there and stuff like that.
So dinner is though the courses are not all at the table. They're brought in, right?
Right.
So dinner itself takes a few hours. Is there anyone that's going to drop something that outsiders shouldn't know, or are we just going to kind of talk superfluous? There's obviously the trip. There's so many things you guys can talk about. There's so many stuff that if they feel like it's time to regale, you guys can do that. Cal, being part of the Explorer Society, is definitely going to tell a story if you guys get in that kind of a mood. But is anyone going to release information at the dinner table? Remember, Billings is there, Myling is there, Cal is there, Marud is there.
I mean, did you have something?
Well, I was going to say, because it's my obsession, if there's more, I talk about Wolfe's work and everything like that. He's going to start talking about his study in alchemy, but then he's going to start going into the subject as he usually will start to do, of how alchemy can be the catalyst to human evolution. How, if to dealing with the animate threats and everything like that, and the plague and stuff, alchemy, if used in the proper way, can be the catalyst to not only speed up human evolution, but evolve us to a higher state of being. Be able to overcome the animate threats and stuff like that. And I believe with my research, I'll be able to.
Every time he says
discover.
alchemy, Frankie takes a little sip of alcohol.
That's fascinating, Dr. Wolfe. I was curious, have you ever heard of the tale of the Philosopher's Stone?
The elixir vitae is the more scientific terminology for that, but yes.
Okay, hold the thought for a moment. For the rest of you, anyone who wants to, if you have history or an occult type thing, go ahead and give me a roll.
Parapsychology?
No, it wouldn't be that.
Thanatology?
Yes, it would be that.
14.
Okay.
That's crazy.
He
And
should be
if-
impaired.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
And
14
if you would actually care to speak of it.
I got a 12 for Thanatology.
Okay. So, the Philosopher's Stone, they're going to go on. Raya will know basically what they talk about, meaning you knew some of this ahead of time. In your case, Wright, the most important part of the Philosopher's Stone, which in your encumbered state is going to stick out, is you had just said that you were looking for it.
He asked if I had ever heard of it.
it.
Yeah.
You have heard of it. It is connected to immortality, and we'll end it right there.
Yeah.
All right, so tonight may not be this the case in the future, but for everybody, I'm going to have you take 3 experience points. We got the game going. We got everyone back
Excellent.
together. I'm
Yeah.
super excited.
What a good lead-in.
That was
That was
great.
perfect.
Thank you.
Dr.
All
Wolfe.
right.
you.
So we're going to hit
Thanks,
next
Gary.
week.
Excellent. See you all next week.
Thank you for listening to another NCRP Productions podcast. To stay on top of everything we're doing, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook, all at NCRP Productions. You can show your support and help us continue to produce content by joining our Patreon. We offer additional podcasts like our B-sides and have GM materials, maps, and other fun things you can discover over time. You can find our podcasts on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, and many other fine podcast sites. Just look for us at NCRP Productions. We value your thoughts, so please don't hesitate to leave us feedback or comments. And if you would like to contact us directly, you can email us at ncrpproductions@gmail.com.